use the strategies and get wealthy. Because I want you to think about this. Sales is cool. Hype is cool. Fancy cars are cool. Car programs are cool. All the parties are cool. All the conventions are cool. The balloons are cool. The DJ is cool. I've been on grand ballrooms. I've been in front of 20,000 people. I've been in front of 10,000 people. I've had the smoke go up in the air and the confetti fall on my head and all that stuff. You don't believe me? Just go put my name in YouTube. I'm not fluffing. I'm just telling you. I've had the party and celebratory type sales background. Nothing wrong with sales. But do you know that most wealthy people, 67% of their wealth is generated from money? In other words, the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, the Oprah Winfrey's of the world, right? Bob Johnson's of the world. These guys make money with a talent or gift or hard work, also hard work, own a business, and then use the money they make from the business to invest. So what you have to ask yourself is, okay, how many people do I really know who are doing the song and dance and give me this and give me that and give me this and give me that and give me 500, give me 800, give me 1,000, give me this and give me that. Nothing wrong with educational programs. I'm talking about hype sessions. How many people do you know that are extremely wealthy who did it without investing? Every wealthy person you know invests. Now, here's the thing about it too. I'm not talking about high income earners, high employees. Like, for example, Kevin Durant is a highly paid employee. I don't care how you slice it, right? He gets a check from an owner. LeBron James, high paid employee, high, right? All these guys, I'm not knocking what they're doing. My point is, if they don't invest, you know where they'll be? Exactly. We've seen it too many times. Boxers, you've seen it. Athletes, you've seen it. Entertainers, you've seen it. You can be a high earning employee and be right back broke again in 5 years. You've seen it too many times. Lottery winners, you've seen it. You're like, how the hell did you lose 50 million? 50 million? 50 million? 300 million? Are you kidding me? Because money will always work for somebody. The question is who? See, money's going to work for somebody. The question is, who's your money working for? So I don't care how high the wage. If you have a job, there's nothing wrong with a job. But no matter how high the wage is, you got to get your taxes down because they're taking 40%. The more you make, the more they take, right? You start getting $200 million contracts and $50 million contracts, you're an athlete. If you don't have tax deductions, and I'm not talking about keeping your receipts. I'm talking about owning businesses and having real estate and investing in real assets. The government doesn't give you a tax break. So when they take 40% of your money and you're not investing, you'll end up right back where you started, wishing you got drafted again. You see? So what I'm telling you guys is wealthy people use businesses and strategies. It's that simple. Tonight's topic is avoid the curse at all costs. Avoid the curse. That's the topic. But I want you to think and say to yourself, at all costs. Now, what is the financial curse that's keeping most people from being able to invest? This has got to be important, an important concept to you guys. Until you start investing, you're not even on the road to wealth. Now, put that in your notes. Until you start investing, you're not even on the road to financial freedom. Not even close. Because here's the thing. Investing is the only way that money will start to work for you. So if you're not investing, that means you're working for money. You're either doing one or the other. You're working for money or money's working for you. I don't care how high the wage. The more you make, the more they take. So if you have all you guys that are six-figure earners a year, seven-figure earners per year, you know this to be true. Your taxes are also sky high. So more people are benefiting off your labor than just you. In other words, if a person can afford to give Steph Curry $200 million over the course of 5 years, what do you think he's making? See, we get excited when we hear, man, LeBron James, $35 million a year. That's why I like LeBron James, because he understands that that's just a small percentage of the business side to LeBron. I don't care what you think about him on the court. He's an excellent, excellent businessman. He has everybody relooking at their contracts. Don't sign the extension. Sign the first 3 years, then become a free agent. He got the whole A whole new generation of people going, no, these owners don't need to own you for 7 years. Sign for 3. Then you renegotiate the terms on your terms. You see, he understands that no matter how much they pay me, I'm in control of my own financial freedom and future. I am a business. I'm not a businessman. Jay-Z said I'm a businessman. Okay? I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. You understand? So I'm a business. That's how I treat my life. These are people I look up to. So my point to you guys is simple. If you're not working, if you're working for money and not investing, you'll always have to do it. At some point, I've been drilling this in your head. I'm going to drill it again tonight. You got to shift the money back to you and get it away from the people who've been using your money to make them wealthy. You see, America is capitalistic. So it's all about who can shift the most money away from the people to them. Who can shift the most money away from the people to them. That's why I love what I do for a living. All my programs are extremely affordable. Nothing wrong. Look, I pay a lot of money for education. $2,000 programs, $10,000 programs, $15,000 programs. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on specialized education. I'm not knocking it. What I'm saying to you guys is simple. The government is shifting money from you. The banks are shifting money from you. Big business is shifting money from you. Inflation is shifting money from you. The only way to keep the shift down is to invest that money so you can start shifting the money back your way. So when Walmart needs to borrow money, they borrow it from the retail fund that you're a part of. When Target needs to borrow money, they borrow from the retail fund that you're a part of. When Kaiser needs to borrow money, they borrow from the health sciences fund that you're a part of. See, the only way to shift money back to you is to understand how investing works, understand how interest works. So when big business needs to borrow money, which they all do, just so you know, big business every day, all businesses are borrowing money, IBM, Apple, Microsoft, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, McDonald's, you name it. Everybody's borrowing money from the consumers via bonds for schools, hospitals, government, that type of thing, and via stocks and investments for what's called income or equity growth funds. So in other words, when companies want to borrow money, they go to Wall Street and get it from the consumers who have enough money to invest. So that way you get a higher rate of return. You see, Wells Fargo is not lending money to Facebook. It's a different charter. You understand? Best Buy is not borrowing money from Bank of America. You see, they're borrowing money from Merrill Lynch. They're borrowing money from T. Rowe Price. They're borrowing money from Vanguard. So when you understand the wholesale side of investing, you become a wholesale investor. So the number one thing that I want to talk about tonight, and it's not going to take long at all, which is why I'm giving you the recap of all the other webinars. The number one thing that's keeping, well, it's a lot of them, but one of the main things that's keeping people from being able to invest and shifting their money away is, drum roll please, revolving debt. Revolving debt. I'm going to make a bold statement and I want you to hear me good. If you are disinterested in the interest you pay, the person with the interest in the interest you pay will become wealthy off of your disinterest. Now ask me to repeat that. Those that know me, like, watch the recording, because I don't know what I just said, but I'm gonna try to say it again. If you are disinterested in the interest you pay, the person who is interested in your disinterest will become wealthy because you are not interested. Yeah, I think that's what I said. So my point is, you guys have to understand how interest and revolving debt robs you of your wealth. Now, I don't know if y'all, watch how many people get it wrong. I know you might be typing it in the comments. All I'm saying is, don't mess up my quote, man. I go on Facebook all the time. You're like, Brian Beane said, I'm like, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say it like that. In other words, become interested in the damage that interest is doing to you as it relates to revolving debt. You need to be very interested in the damage, and I'm gonna prove it to you tonight. Remember a sheet of paper 1 through 9, going all the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, let's keep this in perspective. Why don't most people, and if you're in these shoes, don't worry about it, we'll fix it. But why don't most people have enough money to invest? Well, it's because their money that they do have is going towards interest. And write this down. It's a bold statement. Interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own things in advance that you cannot afford. That's a big one. Interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own things in advance you cannot afford. So society says, can't afford this car? It's okay, finance it. But interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own the car that you can't afford at this time. So what you're saying is, I know I can't afford it, but I'm willing to buy 2 cars for the price of 1. I know I can't afford this vacation, so we're gonna put it on a credit card, and I'm willing to go on the same vacation 3 times. If I don't pay this Disney vacation off, me and all the kids and the husband and wife, we're gonna pay this bad boy off in the next 60 days. We went to 3 vacations and we only got 1 ticket to show for it. You see? So that old rug that you bought back in the 80s, if you still got that credit card, you still paying on that shag rug and that sofa with the plastic, and guess what? You don't even own any of it anymore. So my point is, don't buy things 2 and 3 times. Here's how people buy things 2 and 3 times. There's a big difference between installment debt and revolving debt. Okay? Now the Bible, a book that has tons of lessons in it, states that the borrower is slave to the lender. The same Bible also states that I give you power to gain wealth. So what this means is, if the good book is saying the borrower is slave to the lender, you want to make sure you are a lender and not just a borrower. See, it's okay to borrow money at low interest if you're going to use the money you borrow to become a lender. Let me say that again. It's okay to borrow money at low interest if you're going to use the money that you're going to earn to become a lender. So installment debt typically does not have high interest unless you have the worst credit in the world. Okay? So here's the reality. Installment debt is the debt you should pay off last. I know it's mental. People say, man, I hate all this debt. Well, let's attack the revolving debt first. Your installment debt, which is like your student loans, you can defer and work out a payment plan with your student loans. No problem. Hopefully the interest rate is low. And that's just a psychological thing that you feel buried and trapped because you keep running from them and they keep contacting you. Your car note, hopefully you didn't go in there and get a 17% interest rate on the car that's depreciating the fastest. As soon as you roll off the lot, they all depreciate. But hopefully you didn't go in there and sign anything crazy. If so, you need to eat into their game plan quickly and pay it off a lot faster so they won't make as much off you as they thought. Or refinance and roll that over into a better car that has more value and a lower interest rate. So now the payments that you're making is going more toward the new car and the principal and a little bit of the old car, but that's another story. My point is, installment debt does not kill you and kill your wealth like revolving debt does. Why is this important? Well, it's extremely important because the interest that goes out in the atmosphere creates wealth for somebody else. Let me say the statement again. Interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own things in advance that you cannot afford. Now, I want you to write down on line number 1. Oh, I talked about installment debt. The example I'm giving you now is revolving debt. Installment debt, your mortgage, installment loan. Your car note, installment loan, right? Student loans, installment loan. We can live with it. We want to get rid of it, but we can live with it. Revolving debt, whew. Hey, you want to put that on your Macy's? No. Hey, you want to put that on your TJ Maxx card? No. Would you like to apply for a TJ Maxx card? Hell no. You get 10% off. Well, let me put it on yours. Like, I like to have fun with them. I'm not putting it on nothing. Interest is the penalty you pay for the right to own things in advance you can't afford. If I can't afford these clothes, I'm not putting it on no department store card. I'm not buying 5 jackets because if I can't pull it out and pay for it, I don't need the jacket. This is not hard, but consumers with the consumer mentality become victims to producers with the investment mentality. So now Macy's and Bloomingdale's and Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Miss Red Bottom and everybody else, while you making money moves and wearing bloody shoes and all of that, they getting wealthy off your bloody shoes and your credit card moves. Okay, whatever, what's it, Christian Louis Vuitton or whatever. All right, here we go. So revolving debt is what kills you. On line 1, we're gonna give you an example of what you need to attack with these 9 lines, and we're out of here. Line 1, I want you to put you owe. I want you to put equals $5,000. I'm gonna use my notes here because I'm an English major. My degree is in English. Thought I was going to law school. God had another plan, but memorizing a bunch of numbers, never been my thing. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit tonight. But I want you to put down on line 1 equals you owe $5,000 on a credit card. Now, I want you guys to understand the example I'm about to give you is nothing compared to what most Americans are up against. When most people will put $100, $300, $400, $5,000 on one card and they got 4 cars. They got 4 cards, a Visa, a MasterCard, Discover, American Express. Oh, they qualified for another Visa. They're only getting through the month because of the credit that they're paying off little by little. Not off, on. big Freudian slip or whatever they call it. They're not paying it off. The credit they're paying on every month is the reason they survive. Why is that important? Because everybody you know needs to know what I'm about to show you. They don't teach you this stuff in school. So you owe $5,000 on one credit card. Now, line 2, you pay equals $100 a month. So the bank has already figured out if you just give us $100 a month, how much money they're gonna make off your $5,000 loan. Why do we know there's a loan? Well, because you borrowed $5,000. And anytime you hear the word interest, webinar 1, a loan is involved. Line 3, your interest rate equals 21%. So we got numbers 1 through 9 on a sheet of paper. We out of here. Tonight is easy. I'm telling you. I got to get you in the right mindset to understand that creating wealth is simple once you understand this numbers game that they play on you. So no longer will we go to the football field talking about home run. That's what most people do with their finances. Those days are over. No longer will you be on the basketball court talking about, we need to, we got a safety. No longer will you be on the baseball diamond talking about, touchdown. That's what most people do with their finances. They calling out the wrong terms. They don't know the difference between IPO and the secondary market. They don't know what a Schedule A is versus a Schedule C. They don't know the tax code for a 1099 versus a W-2. They don't know most of their money needs to come from capital gains. They don't know that they need to own a home-based business for the tax deductions. They don't know the difference between tax-free and taxable. They don't know the difference between a SEP account, a Roth, and an IRA. This stuff is easy. It's all tax codes, and you will no longer, after understanding what we teach and getting your membership, be fooled by semantics again. Number 1, you owe $5,000. Number 2, you pay $100 a month. Number 3, your interest rate equals 21%. Now, number 4 is where they trick you. See, you think the 21% is 21% of the 5,000. That's not how revolving debt works. They tricked you. That's not how revolving debt works. You have to be able to calculate what's called your monthly interest rate. See, you think that the 21% of the 5,000, you're like, okay, 20% of 5,000 is $1,000. So I'll borrow 5,000 and pay back 6,000. Even if that were true, that's idiotic, but that's not how it works. Your interest compounds daily and monthly. Line 4 is where you calculate your monthly interest rate. You got to take the 21 and divide it by 12, and you get 1.75. That's how much your interest rate is compounding monthly. See, 21% is the APR, the annual percentage rate. By law, after 2008, 2009, after the recession, credit card companies now have to show you a breakdown of how much you are paying in interest. This has been hidden from the public since the banking institution has been in existence. Now people are becoming smarter. They're like, wait a minute, 21% is my annual percentage rate. How much am I compounding daily and monthly? You got to take the annual rate and divide it by 12. So 21 divided by 12 is 1.75. Now here's where they trick you. You're like, oh, Brian, that's even better. No, it's not better at all. It's actually worse. Now on line 5, you got to multiply, you got to switch that percentage to a decimal. So y'all remember how you moved the decimal twice, right? 1.75 is 0.0175. So now that's the interest rate as a percentage flipped into a decimal, 0.0175. Oh, Brian, that's even better. That's small. No, not when you multiply it by the 5,000, which is your balance. That's $87.50. Well, Brian, what is that? That's how much of your $100 is going towards interest. Wait, Brian, say that again. Yeah. Everybody up? Everybody listening? TV off? Kids, hold on. You paying attention? $87.50 of your $100 payment is going towards interest. Line 1, you owe $5,000. Line 2, the bank said we'll take $100 a month. Of course they will. They're making money off the fact that you're gonna pay back this $5,000. Let's say it's $100 a month. You now have an interest rate of 21%. You take the 21%, go look at all your revolving debt, take the percentage rate, the APR, divided by 12, that gives you your monthly percentage rate, which in this case is 1.75. Move the decimal twice to the left to turn that percentage into a decimal, 0.0175. Now you got to multiply the 0.0175 times the balance. That's your interest payment. Guys, listen to me. If you don't do anything else, go calculate your interest payment. This is how you get pissed off and get wealthy. Tonight, use the formula I just gave you and go calculate your interest payment on all your revolving debt and watch how fast you get out of that debt. So Brian, let me get it right. Out of my 100, $87.50 is going towards the interest? Yes. That means you're giving the credit card a free $87.50 per month while they take $12.50 per month. The difference between $87.50 and $100 is your $12.50, and they put that on the $5,000. Now, how long will it take you to pay out the $5,000 in increments of $12.50? And you wonder why banks have the biggest buildings downtown. You wonder why the banks buildings are so big. They got companies in the building leasing from them because they got the biggest building in the city. You wonder why they made $5 billion in insufficient fund fees off the backs of poor people who already didn't have it. And that's just 4 of the big 5 banks. PNC, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Chase. $5 billion in NSF fees off the backs of poor people who already didn't have the money. And then you wonder why I get upset or angry when I hear that people don't want to take advantage of free education that will show them how to become the bank and stop making free donations to the bank. And you wonder why skeptics get 1 millisecond of my time because I have to get people to understand that if you're skeptical and broke, you're either broke because you're skeptical or skeptical because you broke. But either way, that's a bad combination for you. You have to open your mind up to a new way of making money, and you have to go get every credit card statement you have. Look at your monthly, calculate your monthly percentage rate, and figure out how much money the banks think they're gonna make off you so you can at least start to double it, which cuts that down drastically. So on line 5, you took your 0.0175, you multiplied it by 5,000, and that equals 8750. So on line 6, that means your principal payment is 100 minus 8750 equals $12.50. So out of every $100 you give, $12.50 is going toward the 5,000. Now let's go back for a minute before I conclude with these last 4 lines to the other webinar. I want you to go back and see where I said your interest payments go out into the ether, the atmosphere, and work through perpetuity and never stop making other people wealthy. You gave the bank a free $87.50 every time you give 100. They take the $87.50, multiply it by everyone doing that, go buy somebody else a car, then charge that person 5%, 6%, 7% interest on their car. Your $87.50 times 100 payments is rolled up in that car, bundled with other customers. You pay for somebody else's car with your $87.50. That car was worth $6,000. The banks financed it to somebody else who doesn't understand what I'm telling you for $18,000. They bought 3 cars. The bank then takes the $12,000, which was generated by your $87.50. Then they go put that on somebody's mortgage. Now they take the $12,000, loan it to somebody, bundle it with a whole bunch of other people who don't understand, give somebody a $200,000 house. They're going to end up paying $383,000 for a $200,000 house. Your $87.50 is rolled into the car and rolled into somebody else's house. So you're buying things for other people when you have high interest. Yes, I said it. Now I say it again. You're buying things for other people when you have high interest. People say, I ain't got no kids in college, or you got about 1 million kids in college. I can prove it to you looking at your credit card statements. You got a whole bunch of kids you sending to college. You got to get mad at your situation. I didn't go from 0 to 60 and from ashy to classy till I got mad at my situation. Now, number 7, your reality is this. Your reality equals $5,000 divided by $12.50, which is the principal payment. You'll make about 400 payments, which is 400 months. I said it. Because remember, only $12.50 is going toward the 5,000. So you got to take the 5,000 divided by $12.50. This is line 7. And that equals 400 months. Now, you guys are smart. Line 8 is, we call it your sentencing. You are hereby sentenced to 33 years. You got to take the 400 months divided by 12, which is a year. It'll take you 33 years to pay this thing off. I said it. And look, most people got more than one credit card. Most people have a balance higher than $10,000. We got people who are $400,000 in debt buried in our movement who are now millionaires. We got people who now have children who will be born wealthy and never work again. It'll take you 33 years. Divide the 400 months by 12, that's 33 years. Now watch this. Line 9, the final line, your bank earns $87.50 times 400 months. That's $35,000. That's enough to make you just, look, don't get off the webinar yet. I ain't trying to piss you off. I'm giving you solutions. Line 9, your bank earns $87.50 times 400 payments equals $35,000. I had this guy challenge me one time. I did this example for him. Well, that's not all the way true. I said, I know it's not all the way true. I'm giving you guys a concept. Of course, some of the $12.50 was eaten into the principle. For all you brainiacs that are watching that want to go challenge this formula, I know that a little bit of the $12.50 was knocking a little millicrumb into your $5,000, but I ain't got time for all that. This is for all the brainiacs that want to challenge the math. I'm not an emotional person. You can challenge me until you blue in the face. I'm showing the average person that the bank just made 30 grand off your 5. I don't care how you slice it. So the question now becomes, are you tired of putting interest into the atmosphere and making other people wealthy? Or do you want to bring that interest back to you, shift your income like we teach, and make yourself wealthy? And understanding that you don't have to have a lot of money to make a lot of money to invest. That's what people don't get. Investing and becoming wealthy is a small, simple discipline, compound over a certain period of time. Write this down before I go. Your thoughts multiplied by action plus time equals results. Your thoughts multiplied by action plus time equal results. That's a formula I've used for years and years and years, and I've earned over 7 figures on my way to 8 doing it. And I'm gonna take some of you guys with me. I'm only gonna take the people that wanna go, but I'm gonna take some of you guys with me.